Only 12 people in that arena knew who Bruce Lee was. The karate champion on stage didn't. The 500 spectators didn't. The tournament judges didn't. The organizers didn't. They just saw a small Chinese man in street clothes sitting quietly in row 14. Then the champion grabbed the microphone and called Kung Fu fake. Called it dance. Called it movie choreography with no practical application. Challenged any Kung Fu practitioner to come up and prove him wrong. Nobody moved. The champion smiled. That's what I thought. The man in row 14 stood up. 8 minutes later, the undefeated champion, 4-time winner, 5 years undefeated, 47 consecutive victories, was standing on his own stage in front of 500 people with a hand stopped 1 inch from his throat, unable to move, his textbook techniques having found nothing but air for the previous 30 seconds. Then Bruce Lee stepped back, gave the champion space, and said something quietly that only Michael could hear. The champion stood there breathing hard. And everything he thought he knew about martial arts was gone. But the part nobody talks about is what happened 2 years later. What Michael became after the day the stranger in row 14 showed him something he couldn't argue with. Stay with this story. Those of you who spent decades mastering a craft understand the specific blindness that expertise produces. You get deep enough inside a system, deep enough to win consistently, to accumulate credentials, to be recognized as the best in your context, and the system starts to look like the whole world. The methodology becomes the truth. The framework becomes the ceiling. And anyone operating outside the framework gets dismissed as untested, theatrical, not serious. Michael Chen was not a bad practitioner. His 47 consecutive victories were real. His technique was genuine. His dedication across 22 years was exactly what it appeared to be. But he had made the mistake that expertise always makes available and that wisdom always warns against. He had confused being the best inside his system with being complete. A man in row 14 with no uniform, no belt, and no tournament record spent 8 minutes showing him the difference. What Michael did with that information is the real story. Long Beach, California. March 20th, 1969. Long Beach Arena. The International Karate Championships, the biggest martial arts tournament in America, competitors from 12 countries representing 20 different styles. 500 spectators, martial artists, students, masters, families. The atmosphere of a room where serious people had gathered around something they all cared about deeply and had strong opinions about. Michael Chen was 28 years old, 6'2", 215 pounds. He had been training since age 6. 4th Dan in Shotokan Karate, 3 consecutive tournament championships, 5 years undefeated in competition. 47 consecutive victories. He warmed up center stage in his pristine white GI, and each practice punch snapped the air with the efficiency of 22 years of daily repetition. He looked exactly like a champion. He carried himself like one. When the tournament organizer handed him the microphone before the finals, tradition, let the champion speak, Michael's confidence had already crossed the line into something else. His speech started the way these speeches start: credentials, record, gratitude. The audience applauded. Then he said that Shotokan Karate was the superior martial art. That Japanese karate was the most effective fighting system in the world. Some in the audience shifted. Martial arts politics were sensitive. Bold claims about one style's superiority were considered poor form. Michael kept going. He turned to what had been bothering him. The recent trend of so-called Kung Fu. Chinese martial arts. Flowery movements, unrealistic techniques. No practical application in real fighting. Not real martial arts. Performance. Dance. Movie choreography. The arena went quiet. In row 14, a small man in casual clothes, black pants, black shirt, no uniform, no indication of rank, shifted slightly. His companion, one of the 12 people who recognized him, whispered, "You want to leave?" The small man shook his head. Michael continued. He challenged any Kung Fu practitioner to come up and prove him wrong. Scanned the audience. No one moved. He smiled. "That's what I thought. I'll accept your challenge." The voice came from row 14. Quiet, calm. The microphone picked it up. Michael stopped. Found the voice in the audience. "Excuse me?" I said, "I'll accept your challenge." The small man in row 14 stood up. He made his way down through the audience and climbed to the stage. Now everyone could see him clearly. 5'7". Perhaps 140 pounds. Street clothes. No GI, no belt, no patches, no indication of rank or system. Michael Chen towered over him, 7 inches taller, 75 pounds heavier, in full competition uniform with a 4th-degree black belt around his waist. The audience murmured. The visual was stark. Ed Parker, the tournament organizer, took the microphone. For those who don't know, this is Bruce Lee, a martial arts instructor from Los Angeles. He teaches Wing Chun and his own system, Jeet Kune. He's also an actor, played Kato on the Green Hornet. Some in the audience nodded. They knew the show. Michael did not follow Hong Kong entertainment or kung fu circles. He heard actor and thought, this is perfect. This is exactly my point. Movie fighting, choreographed, fake. He would demonstrate the difference. Prove his argument in front of 500 witnesses. They faced each other center stage. Michael settled into Zenkutsu Dachi, the deep front stance of Shotokan, weight forward, rear fist chambered, everything textbook and precise. Every detail reflected 22 years of daily practice. Bruce stood naturally. Feet shoulder width, weight centered, hands relaxed. No deep stance, no formal positioning. To the karate-trained audience, it looked casual. Unprepared. The judge signaled. Begin. Michael moved first. A textbook Izuki, lunging punch, front hand aimed at Bruce's chest. Proper form. Fast for his size. Bruce was already somewhere else. Not a dramatic evasion, a minimal lateral shift, executed before the punch had fully committed. Michael's fist arrived at the space where Bruce had been. Not where he was. Michael recovered, reset. Mei-jeri, front kick, snap kick to the midsection. Clean technique, proper form. Bruce wasn't there. Michael increased his pace. Combination, punch, punch, kick. Gyakuzuki, Oizuki, Mawashi-jeri. Tournament combinations. The sequences that had ended 47 consecutive fights. Bruce flowed around them. Under the first punch, outside the second, away from the kick. Not blocking, moving. Minimal displacement, just enough, at exactly the right moment. The karate practitioners in the audience began to understand something. Michael's techniques were correct. His form was clean. But Bruce was reading them, seeing the telegraphs, the weight shifts, the chamber preparations. Every classical technique requires preparation. Bruce was responding to the preparation, not the technique. By the time the technique arrived, he was already somewhere else. Michael pressed harder. He had made a private decision, forget the light contact agreement. He wanted to land something. He launched a full-power Mei-jeri, real force, real intention. Bruce's hand rose and met Michael's shin just before full extension. Not a block, an interception. His palm made contact at the right angle and the kick deflected offline by 2 inches. Michael's balance compromised for a fraction of a second. In that fraction, Bruce stepped into Wing Chun range, the close distance where his system operated, and his right hand shot out in a straight blast aimed at Michael's centerline. It stopped 1 inch from his face. The air displacement was audible to the people in the front rows. The message was immediate and specific. That could have landed. Would have landed. Didn't only because Bruce chose not to. Michael stepped back. He was breathing harder. The small kung fu actor was making his techniques look slow, his form look predictable, his 5 years of undefeated competition look like something that had never been genuinely tested. His pride was wounded. His ego was demanding a response. Is that all you've got? Bruce said quietly. Only Michael could hear. Or should we make this more interesting? Michael launched everything. Every technique he possessed, punches, kicks, elbows, sweeps. 5-year undefeated combinations. Tournament-winning sequences. The full expression of 22 years of daily training applied at the highest intensity he could produce. Bruce moved through it like smoke. His hands touched Michael's techniques, light contact, just enough to change angles, to demonstrate control, to show that he could stop them if he chose. Not blocking. Guiding. Revealing the gap between the technique being thrown and where Bruce actually was. The audience had come to watch karate finals. They were watching something else. A different level, a different philosophy, a different understanding of what fighting was. After 30 seconds, Bruce decided to end it. Michael threw a Mawashi-jeri, roundhouse kick to the head. His best technique. The technique that had finished opponents across 47 fights. Bruce stepped inside. Not away from the kick, into it, past the arc where the technique had power, into the dead space that the rotation created at close range. His left hand controlled Michael's kicking leg at the knee. His right hand shot to Michael's throat. Stopped 1 inch away. He held the position for 3 seconds. Long enough for 500 people to see. Long enough for Michael to understand. Long enough for the lesson to register completely. Then Bruce released, stepped back, gave Michael space. The arena was silent with the silence of people who have watched something that has revised their understanding of what was possible. Michael stood there. Breathing hard. Sweating. Something in his expression that had not been there when he walked onto the stage. He had been dominated by someone 75 pounds lighter in street clothes. Someone without a karate rank. Someone he had publicly called a practitioner of fake martial arts. He extended his hand. I underestimated you. Bruce shook it. You have excellent technique. Excellent form. But technique alone isn't enough. You have to understand the principles. The concepts. What do you mean? You're fighting the way you've been taught. Following the rules, the kata, the patterns. Your techniques are perfect for tournaments, for the system. But real fighting has no rules. No patterns. You have to adapt, to flow, to respond to what is, not to what you've practiced for. He paused. Your stances telegraph your intentions. The chambering wastes time. The deep positions limit your mobility. Following the rules makes you predictable. Someone who has trained to read those telegraphs will always be ahead of the technique. Michael had heard the phrase "be like water" before, in martial arts circles, attributed to this man. He had never understood it. He understood it now, not as philosophy but as physical fact, demonstrated on his body by someone who had flowed around everything he threw. Ed Parker took the microphone. Mr. Lee, would you be willing to share more? The audience would benefit from a short demonstration. Bruce looked at Dan Inosanto in the audience. Dan nodded. Bruce spent the next 15 minutes giving an impromptu demonstration to 500 karate practitioners. Wing Chun principles, economy of motion, centerline theory. Chi Sa, sticky hands, sensitivity training, developing reflexes below the speed of conscious decision. Jeet Kune philosophy, using no way as way, having no limitation as limitation. He showed how classical stances limited mobility. How chambering wasted time. How following patterns made you readable. He demonstrated on volunteers, showing the specific gaps that rule-based training created. The karate practitioners in the audience were experiencing something between fascination and discomfort. Everything Bruce was saying contradicted years of training. But they could not deny what they had watched for the previous 30 minutes. It had worked undeniably, obviously, against the best tournament karate practitioner in America. At the end, Bruce addressed the room directly. I don't say this to disrespect karate. Karate is an excellent martial art, excellent for discipline and physical development. But if you want to fight effectively, you must go beyond style, beyond system, beyond tradition. Don't practice kata because that's what you've been taught. Practice techniques because they work for you, against real opponents, in real situations. The moment your methodology becomes more important than what works, you have stopped developing. 500 people sat with this. Many uncomfortable. Some angry. Many intrigued. Bruce returned to row 14. Dan was grinning. That was extraordinary. I didn't mean to embarrass him, Bruce said. But he challenged Kung Fu publicly. He needed to understand. Oh, he understands now. Trust me. The tournament continued. The finals proceeded. Michael won his 4th consecutive championship. His technique remained the best in the competition. But something had changed. The 12 people who had recognized Bruce in the audience noticed it immediately. The confidence was different. Less performed, more honest. More aware. After the tournament, Michael found Bruce in the parking lot. Mr. Lee, can we talk? They sat on the hood of Bruce's car as the arena emptied and the evening came in. I've been thinking about what you said. About being water, about adapting. I want to understand what you showed today. Will you teach me? Bruce studied him. He saw sincerity where there had been arrogance. He saw genuine humility where there had been performance. I don't take many students. My time is limited. I understand. I'm asking anyway. I'm willing to start over if I have to. You don't have to start over. Your foundation is real. You just need to expand it, to see beyond the system you're inside. Will you give me a chance? Come to my school. Los Angeles, Saturday mornings. We'll see if you're serious. Michael showed up that Saturday. And the next. And the next. For 2 years, he trained with Bruce Lee, learning Wing Chun, learning Jeet Kune, unlearning the specific limitations that tournament success had built into his movement without his knowledge. He continued competing. Won tournaments. Remained the best Shotokan practitioner in his competitive context. But his movement changed, more fluid, more adaptive, less telegraphed, less predictable. He stopped retiring into his deep stance between exchanges. He stopped chambering his rear hand. He started responding to what was there rather than what he had prepared for. The students who trained under him in the years after noticed it. He taught differently than other Shotokan instructors. Less emphasis on perfect form, more emphasis on whether the form worked against genuine resistance. More questions, fewer pronouncements. He retired from competition in 1971. He opened a school teaching a blend of Shotokan and Jeet Kune, honoring his roots while incorporating the expansion that a parking lot conversation had made possible. He told his students about March 20, 1969. Every year, in the first class of each new semester. Not as a story of defeat, as a story about what mastery actually required. He said, I spent 22 years becoming the best inside my system. I believed that meant I understood fighting. 8 minutes showed me the difference between those two things. The most dangerous thing that success produces is certainty. I was certain that tournament winning and real capability were the same thing. A man in row 14 who weighed 75 pounds less than me showed me they weren't. He paused before the part his students most remembered. He said, the deadliest opponent is always the one you've already dismissed. The 12 people who knew Bruce Lee that day told everyone what they had witnessed. Word spread through martial arts communities across the country, carried by the specific velocity of stories that contain information practitioners found genuinely useful. 500 witnesses. 12 who recognized him. 1 who was changed. 1 who did the changing. Long Beach Arena, March 20th, 1969. The day a 4-time champion challenged the audience and the audience answered. The day the best practitioner inside a system met someone operating outside it. The day Michael Chen went from champion to student in 8 minutes, and spent the next 2 years becoming something his 22 years of perfect technique had not been able to make him. Complete.